Hello, my name's James Dawson. I want to welcome you guys to the Chattanooga FC pregame show, coming to you live from Finley Stadium, presented by Workshop. So we're about to play the Savannah Clovers FC in tonight's matchup at 8 o'clock. This will be the second match of the NISA Independent Cup. This is following the match that's going on right beside me here between the Soda City FC and the Georgia Revolution, who we played last week at Finley. Make sure you tune in to watch the game. We're going to have two live streams, live stream on MyCuju and live streamed on YouTube. Again, that's 8 p.m. coming at you guys live. So although the stands at Finley are empty and we can't lift up our voices together, it's hard to deny there's been a certain amount of excitement with this being our second week back in soccer in the Scenic City, as we had a W last week versus the Georgia Revolution FC. We obviously wish our fans could be with us, but to those watching from home, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're staying safe, and we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Before we start, the Chattanooga FC would like to give a shout out to the McAllister's Deli for keeping our boys fueled tonight. So if you haven't gone and been by to support them, we'd love it if you went and said hey after they fed our team this evening. I'm going to be joined in just a little bit by Andrew Breezy and Matt Caniglio. They're soccer aficionados. They host the Section 109 podcast, which, if you don't know, is the Chattahooligans section in Finley Stadium. They're wonderful men, friends of yours, friends of mine. So we're excited to have them on this evening. Guys, are you here?
I'm here.
He's here. He's here. He's live somewhere in the stadium. I love it. So thank you for joining us, guys. I want to talk a little bit about last week's matchup to tee up what we're going into for this week. And so for those of you who don't know, Chattanooga FC was live last week. We played against the Georgia Revolution FC. It was a decisive, solid, resolute 3-1 victory, and we secured the number one spot in the NISA Independent Cup by goal differential. Right out of the gate, Chattanooga FC's Ian McGrath put us on the board. Now, Ian actually scored our first goal as a professional club when we played the Oakland Roots back in February, which was about 10 years ago, by my calculation. He scored in the 6th minute with a beautiful strike, assist from Alec McKinley and Richard Dixon. We don't normally throw two names out with an assist, but if you watch the highlight, which has been replayed thousands of times, you will see why. Not long after that, the Revs came back. They evened things up 1-1 with a top bin volley, take nothing away from the strike. It was absolutely beautiful. It was 1-1 until the 41st minute, where CFC legend Zeka found a through ball for Brian Beament, streaking down the right side. He slotted it home to the left corner. It was gorgeous, and we took the lead 2-1 going into halftime. In the second half, CFC came out. They owned the ball. They owned possession, and there was a beautiful combo play from Juan Hernandez to Ian McGrath to Zeka Ferez, and Brian Beament eventually slotted it home for a great team goal, a 3-1 victory. So, gentlemen, Matt, Breezy, so glad to have you with us. What are your first impressions of this CFC squad after seeing last week's game?
I'll start us off. I think my first impression
Matt, let's go with you first. Yeah, please.
Okay, so my first impression is that it's a work in progress. You can tell there's some talent. You can tell that that there's some young players that need to grow up and become like true professionals. This is some players' first gig, and the one thing I think that stands out among the most talented players that we have and some of the young up and coming players is that there was effort, especially on Saturday. Even when the touches weren't perfect, when there was the hot, humid weather, first came back from 4 or 5 months out, there was effort, and that was really nice to see.
So I'll echo. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, Breezy.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
I had some technical difficulties. Apologies for my tardiness. So I definitely saw some of the same things Matt saw, but additionally, I saw some composure in front of goal, which was nice. which doesn't, that it's early on in the season, so you don't always see that. And I saw some really nice moments. I think as a whole, there was a lot to be desired from that game. We left a lot on the table, as you do during a preseason game. You're just trying to figure out and get people settled in. But it was something that was really, really good to see. That third goal was a team goal that you mentioned. And I really felt like there were some moments of brilliance in that game that show where CFC can get to this season.
I love the level of standard from our best fans. 3-1 victory, and there are things we can improve on. We can't wait to see that. Lineup choices for last week's game. What did you guys think about the formation, the chemistry that might have came from that? What was your takeaway for our lineup last week? Some of the new faces that folks might not be familiar with.
I'll take that one first if you'd like. So I love seeing us out in a 3-man. It's a little terrifying because we're a little short due to injury and things out of our control on center backs. But I thought that it was really nice to see the width provided. I thought Cam really played from the edge of one touchline, and then Dix really played on the other touchline. And you had a lot of width that we haven't always had for CFC. And to see, I mean, you saw it in the first goal, right? You saw a ball switch from one end line all the way across to a player cutting in from the other end line. And I thought that was really, really cool to see. And, I thought that it showed a lot of promise. And I thought some partnerships were good as well. And I'll let Matt expound on maybe some of those partnerships.
Well, so I think there's obviously something going on in terms of a budding partnership between Zeka and Brian Beeman. You could see the way that they work together up top in that 3-5-2. You could tell that
2 assists.
One player would drop back at times to help out the defense or come receive the ball deeper, and one would stay higher. They would take alternating pressing routes, which was very, very nice to see. They are not exactly like the same type of player, but they complemented each other very, very well in the front part of the CFC half.
So as far as standout players for you guys, and you kind of touched on this with just addressing the lineup, but who is a standout player for each of you? Matt, we'll start with you. Who is your standout star or standout player for their role that they played last week?
So I'm gonna say 2 briefly. I thought Alec Reddington had a great game in goal.
Absolutely.
His first game as a professional. He communicated pretty well. He made the saves that he needed to make in the right moments. There was nothing he could have done about the Georgia Revolution goal. The other one I'm going to say is Eric Panzer. Eric is a longtime professional at this point. He's kind of an elder statesman on this team, and he took 2 guys on either side of him in the other center back roles, Alec McKinley and Nick Spielman, early on in their pro careers, and he helped guide them, lead them where they needed to be, and really helped make sure that we were tight at the back and could possess the ball as well. So for me, those are the 2.
I'll give you 2 as well. I'll give you 2 as well. Richard Dixon on that right side, he was absolutely devastating going forward, and he played actually 2 different positions during the night, right? He had the assist, bombing forward, but then by the end of the game, he was a center back. Defending those balls coming in. So I thought he was magnificent, and I saw him go off with an injury there for a minute, and he didn't get up for a minute. I was very nervous, but he got up and played the rest of the game. So that was great. And then Zeka, the old head. Every time you count Zeka out, you're just wrong. You get proven wrong. He had 2 assists. He and as Matt mentioned, the link-up play between him and Beeman was fantastic. I thought that he was arguably man of the match, and not something that I expected going into it. And I'm really, really happy to have been wrong.
I also was really impressed by Zeka's work rate. I cannot imagine a defense that could keep up with those 2 after seeing them last week, tracking back to their own 18 whenever they had to. It was really impressive. So we talked about the lineups. We talked about some players that stood out to us. But what about team chemistry? I mean, we're talking about the first game back for, months. It seems like years at this point, So what did you guys think about team chemistry and synergies and relationships you're starting to see form on the field? Matt, let's start with you again.
So I think that there were some budding partnerships and relationships on the field. I think in like a couple guys here, a couple guys there. Obviously, we mentioned the Brian Beam-Zeka relationship.
Yeah.
I thought that Ian McGrath could be considered a part of those front two, in the way that he was able to combine with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some little moments like that. I think overall as a team, I think we need to see more communication, a lot more synergy, because there were moments where the guys weren't where other people thought they were supposed to be, and we got a little sloppy at times. And I'd like to see the defense also communicate a little bit better tonight.
I'll highlight one particular partnership, and that was McKinley and Cam. While nothing was perfect, because that's two guys who are not, one guy who's not a center back, ostensibly at least in his career. Alex McKinley did not grow up playing center back. He's more of an outside back or a midfielder, and he was playing center back. And then Cam, who's much more of an attacking midfielder or occasionally a winger, and he was playing wing back. Those two players had a lot of nice moments going up that left-hand sideline. The offense really ran through those two guys for large portions of that game, and you saw obviously a goal from Richard Dixon, assist to Ian McGrath, come right off of that crossfield ball. But you guys saw the defense having to stay honest with Cam and McKinley going back and forth. So I love their budding partnership, and I hope to see more.
So, guys, we are thrilled with some of these partnerships. Some of the new guys stepping up, us moving into our first season at a professional level. You mentioned after initial impressions on the 3-1 win that there might be some things to be desired. What are some points or some things you're really looking forward to seeing our team grow into as their chemistry grows? So what are some areas of improvement that you guys saw just out of this last week?
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, so first and foremost, I want to see better shape. In the formation we were playing, if one person is out of position just slightly at the defensive level, it starts a cascading effect where multiple players get out of position. And I think that's one of the reasons why Georgia Revolution was in position to score their goal they did. The way we're playing in this 3-5-2, it's really important that the center defensive midfielder, it was Kyle Carr last week, stays like right in front of those center backs, which means that he needs help from the outside backs flanking the main center back, and then from the outside backs staying in their own shape as well.
So I agree. Defensive shape is going to be a really, really big one. I want to see more sustained team play, and I don't necessarily mean possessing of the ball for long periods of time, but the third goal that we referenced earlier, and I hate to keep going back to it, but you saw some really good team play where it was all one-touch passes. Yeah. And that's not every pass that we hit is not going to be a one-touch pass. What I'm going to look for a lot over the next few weeks is that becoming a higher percentage of the plays, of the dangerous plays being guys who know where the other guy is without having to see them. That automatic, those plays you run in practice, those intuitions that you develop about your fellow players. I'll be looking for those partnerships that we've been talking about and those sequences of play develop even more. And I hope we'll see some of that both offensively and defensively tonight.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point, Breezy. You get the one-touch passing and the quick counterattack when people are where you think they're going to be, whether you get a quick look or not. So we did see some flashes of that. But this team obviously has the potential. We've played Georgia Revolution a lot over the last few years, right? We've got some the Georgia Revolution. We've played them a lot over the last few seasons.
Never heard of them.
Never heard. Yeah, are they? Is that a club team? Is this no? We've played against these guys a number of times. What did you guys think about their performance?
I'll take this one first. I thought they looked great. Honestly, like I thought that they don't have an NPSL season this season, right? So they have a year-round reserve team where I assume their 16-year-old left back came out of, and he looked great. I thought their overall team chemistry was pretty good. They definitely knew what kind of system they were playing. They knew where most of their other play, you could see sequences of play like the ones I was describing earlier for the Georgia Revolution. Now, they did not have the top line talent, in my opinion, from what I saw that we do, but they have some good moments. And I do think it's a pretty good chance that they're the second best team in this set of friendlies, in this friendly tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do some good work against some teams that aren't paying their players, some other amateur teams.
What do you think, Matt? What's your take on the Georgia performance from last week?
I'm enjoying this music you guys got for us.
I know, seriously. Little stadium sound for the people who can't be here tonight.
So
I was there.
So about the Georgia Revolution, I think they're obviously a young team. I think they've got some talent, decent talent for this level. I thought they were some of their passing sequences, like Breezy said, were pretty nice.
Yeah.
The thing that we were able to pick them apart with is that their defense did not maintain any sort of proper shape. And so when that defense fell apart, it helped us just be able to pick them apart a lot easier for some of those goals.
Well, it also helps when you have a guy like Ian McGrath, who not only has a tremendous amount of experience, but when he goes to get a ball and he sticks that go-go gadget leg out there, I mean, he's 6'5" and he wanted that ball more, I felt like. And
Peter
that was very much so. And you saw that too with Brian Beeman's his third finish, like the third goal of the game, his second finish. It was a very good finish, and it was on a break, so that one was a little more understandable. But his first finish to score the second goal of the game was angle perfect. I mean, you could not pick a better angle than he did, and that's an old pro's move. And I think he actually caught both the goalkeeper and the defender napping, because I don't think they believed that he could hit a ball at that angle with that kind of perfection, and he really proved them wrong. So I think, kind of as Matt alluded to, a little bit of inexperience and maybe a little bit of lack of, professionalism, and, not to harp on it, but, when guys are really, really, really sharp, they're able to make plays that other guys aren't.
Yeah, there's no room for extra touches on the field. They'll make you pay. Any last thoughts on this match that we saw last week, whether it be takeaways for CFC or on the opponent, the Revolution?
Well, I'll just mention about the Revolution. Obviously, the game, you can hear the stadium behind me. That game just wrapped up at 2-2 for Soda City and the Georgia Revolution, which means that Georgia Revs are at 1 point. Soda City's on 4 points now. So if we take care of business against Savannah Clovers, get all 3 points, then does not matter what happens between us and Soda City.
Matt, you're bleeding into our next segment here, man. We're about to talk about the Clovers.
Well, then let's talk about the Clovers then.
Let's jump straight to it. So let's go ahead and let's talk about tonight's lineup. So we're going to be able to give y'all a sneak peek. I don't believe our social channels have messaged anything out yet. So if you're not watching our live show, you don't know what we don't or what we haven't told you yet. So looking at tonight's lineup, we have some guesses at the shape. Matt and Breezy and I were texting earlier with what we think. But let me just go through this lineup with us, and let's talk about it a little bit. So in goal, we're going to have Matt Mazinski taking the start from Alec Reddington. In defense, again, we're going to have Alec McKinley. We're also going to have Nick Spielman. Eric Panzer, of course, will also be back in defense. We're going to have Kyle Carr is listed as defense this evening. In the midfield, we've got Ryan Marcano. He's going to be joined by Ian McGrath and also Cameron Woodfin, which leaves a number of strikers with talent. That's Zeka Perez, Brian Beeman, and Caleb Jackson, who came on late in last week's game and showed some very strong counterattacking ability. Guys, what do you think of this lineup tonight? What are your guesses at the shape? And what are you looking forward to seeing as far as the team playing together?
So I actually snuck a quick conversation with assistant coach Drew Courtney. It's going to be a 3-5-2. We're going to maintain the same shape as last week.
Okay.
So it'll be Spielman, Carr, and McKinley as the defenders. We'll put Kyle Carr back at the 6th role in defensive midfield. Ryan Marcano at right wing back, where he subbed in last week. It'll be Cam Woodfin back at left winger, or left wing back, excuse me. And then Zeka will drop back into midfield. try to continue that kind of partnership with Ian McGrath and Brian Beamett, who will be up top with Caleb Jackson. I think I'm still actually going back and forth on what I think we're trying to do here, but I would not be surprised to see us let Savannah try to play a little bit more, maybe a little bit less pressing this week. And I think we'll try to really hit them on the counterattack because that worked so well for us last week against Georgia Revolution.
I just want to point out, I love this song. I'm just jamming over here. I'll start out with, I think, one of the obvious things is that we have a new goalkeeper. It looks like Matt Mazinski will be making his, I believe it's pronounced Matt Mazinski. I've never heard him say it yet, so I hope that pronunciation guide is correct in my head, because I don't have a real one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call him Mosey, so I don't know if he likes that, but I'm going to call him Mosey until I find out otherwise. Anyway, Mosey starting, getting his very first start for us, very first game time at Finley Stadium. It's a little different. There's no Section 109 filled with Chatahooligans, and there's not going to be a raucous atmosphere there, but I do think this is a big step, not necessarily for the club, but for the player. We're gonna see what he provides, because Reddington had basically a seamless and perfect game last week. He made no errors. He made 2 very big saves and a couple routine ones, and that was really it. So I'll be interested to see what he provides. Obviously, we talked about the inexperience of Spielman and McKinley. They're both very young players. They're in their first professional season, so how do they communicate? How do they do with Panzer? Panzer is an experienced pro. Can he keep them all in line, and can they play as a unit? Mm-hmm. And then Marcano, who is playing that right back role for Richard Dixon in place of Richard Dixon. Ryan Marcano is an incredible athlete. One of the previews that I would say for fans is to watch him go up and down that touchline, because that boy can fly. He is an absolute speed demon. He loves to get to the end line, put a cross in, and if Savannah aren't ready and on the toes, he'll be by them and headed for goal very, very quickly.
And with Cam on the other side, that has a great recipe for being able to play out of the back quickly. So let's talk a little bit then about tonight's opponent. We're taking on the Savannah Clovers FC. We give a little bit of background on these guys. They were founded in 2016 as an amateur club. The Clovers currently compete in the UPSL, which is part of the United States Soccer Federation Sanction League. Their club mission is to bring the highest level of soccer to the hostess city while also engaging players, fans, and local businesses in an effort to give back to their community. The Clovers kicked off the NISA Independent Cup. This would have been last Saturday with their match against the Stoda City FC. They lost that match 1-2 against their opponent from Columbia, South Carolina. And that placed them at number 3 for the Independent Cup standings. So back to you guys. What do you think? I mean, all we know at this point is we saw a 2-2 draw between an opponent that we beat last week and the opponent that beat the team we are playing. But as we see our lineup changes going into this one, what do you guys have for expectations?
I think anything less than a multiple goal win would be a disappointment for us. I mean, at bottom line, you want to win the game, and soccer is a funny sport, and weird things happen. But I think we need to come out and we need to score early, like we did last week, and I think we really need to give a real good showing. I would like to see more from more chances taken, more chances created. We did pretty good with the chances that we got last week, but I'd like to see a little bit more creation, just to give us a better chance of scoring more goals. And I'd really like to make sure that we're a little bit more clean at the back and not let them get a goal like we let in against Georgia Revolution. Go ahead and just put them down early.
Matt, you look at this lineup and the speed that we have and the shape that we're going to have. What percentage would you put at a goal in the first 10 minutes?
If I say anything, then I'm going to be proven wrong. So I'd like to refrain from saying anything.
Come
Matthew,
on,
let me help you.
Yes,
let me help you. If anything you say is going to be proven wrong, then say there's no way we're scoring for the first, 30 minutes.
0% chance.
Okay.
There we go. Atta baby.
I get what we're doing here. Breezy, what do you think? This team we're taking on tonight, we don't know much about them, but we know some of the records of the games that have taken place. And you see the lineup tonight. What are you looking forward to this evening?
I think a couple things. Number one, this is an ambitious club. They wouldn't be in this NISA Independent Cup showcase, whatever you want to. I mean, no, it's called the Independent Cup, but really it's a showcase, right? This is a chance for amateur teams to get on the field with professional teams and show that they have ambition and that they can do it. So number one, I'm interested to see what an ambitious club really looks like in for them at least. And then number two, this is a weird summer. There are there's no NPSL. There's no big summer competitions. And what are players that would normally play all summer doing? What are the normal players that would play for Savannah, for Soda City, for Georgia Revolution? What are they doing and where are they at? Is this team a team that brought in a bunch of ringers from out of town? Is it a team that's able to be put together from local guys? Is it a really talented team? You've seen CFC in the past. CFC has long been an amateur team with mostly regional-based players from colleges in this region. Does Savannah look a little bit like CFC used to, which CFC used to give every pro team we played a very good run for their money? Ask the Wilmington Hammerheads how that works out for them. I mean, or FC Dallas, for that matter.
Or FC Dallas.
Yeah, there we go. Great minds. Or is this a team that, it struggles to put together players in a pandemic shortened or a off season? So I'm really interested to see what their team looks like against our team, and not just against another amateur team that maybe has the same ambitions.
So to piggyback a little bit there.
Go ahead.
To piggyback just a little bit there, you speak about ambition. I'm going to be curious, and what I'll be watching for is in the first 10 minutes, what do the Clovers do? Are they going to come out and set a high line of confrontation? Are they going to sit back and just try to bunker and counter? What are their intentions of playing against us? And because that's going to change the way we play a little bit too. If Savannah comes out and tries to press, tries to be a little bit more aggressive, we might really look at trying to turn the ball over in midfield and going on a quick counter. If they're going to sit back in and let us have all the possession, that's also going to require a different response from us, and one that we have not had to really navigate, at least in our first two games in 2020.
And you could imagine with them coming in to this game, knowing who they're playing against, playing in our stadium, fans or no fans, home turf. We're a great club. They saw the numbers we put up last week and just historically. So it will be very telling how they come out. Do they try and nab one and park the bus? Or are they going to sit back in and try and take their shots at a counter? So guys, who are you watching? I'm going to ask fans to vote on Twitter tonight for their Clumpies Man of the Match. The way we're going to do this is you're going to do hashtag Clumpies, MOTM. That is Man of the Match. It's an abbreviation, right? So Clumpies, Man of the Match. With the player's name, obviously, you guys don't want to call a player of the game. You told me this ahead of time because you want to watch the game first. But who are players you're going to be watching that you would want to encourage our guests that are watching online to pay close attention to? Matt, let's go with you first. Who's your player?
So I'm going to go with an offensively minded choice. I'm going to go with Ian McGrath. And this is why. I think, and based on the first two games of the season, I have a little bit of justification here. I think as Ian McGrath goes, our offense goes. And as our offense goes, so goes the team.
I'll take it. Breezy?
My eyes are going to be on Caleb Jackson. So Caleb Jackson is a newcomer to CFC this year. It looks like he'll be starting up top, and if he's not starting up top, he'll be starting in that front few players. He's a forward or a winger usually, and his job is to go out there and score goals. Zeka and Brian Beement set a very, very high bar last week for both performance and scoring. Now Zeka and Beement are both in there, as well as Jackson. What does Jackson look like? How does he combine with either one of those players? Does he provide a different look? Does he provide more of the same? And can he live up to those expectations?
For keeping our players out of harm's way.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you guys, Matt, Breezy, for joining with us, for giving us incredibly in-depth commentary. You've talked to coaches. You've thought this through. You've talked it over. I love everything that you brought as far as perspective this evening. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Go CFC.
Go CFC. All right. So next up, we're going to be holding yet another Twitter giveaway. If you want to enter the drawing, go to our Twitter page. That's at Chattanooga FC. Go ahead and follow our page. Obviously, follow our page, right? There's great commentary there. I should know. Go ahead and follow the page and retweet the corresponding tweet for our giveaway tonight. Tonight, we're giving away a special scarf. If you look on our Twitter page, you'll see a picture that looks very similar to this, although in the picture I will be wearing my appropriate PPE because I was not talking at the time. This is No Matter What CFC scarf. It's incredible. So go on there, follow us on Twitter, give us a retweet for that, and you'll be entered into the drawing. We had over 300 retweets last week on our giveaway, so jump on there early so whoever's watching the Twitter can see you ahead of time. If you don't win, it's okay. Go to shop.chattanoogafc.com. We have amazing gear and apparel that's available for you guys online. If you have not seen our home kits, the internet was abuzz last week. These home kits are absolutely killer. You could call them Carol Baskin. So again, it's go to shop.chattanoogafc.com and you can get the gear for yourself. Next week, we're going to go ahead and travel down to face the competitors that played the Georgia Revolution before us this evening. That's going to be the Soda City FC, Saturday, July 25th in Columbia, South Carolina. This will be the third and I believe final match in the NISA Independent Cup. Soda City FC is an independent cup. Their team plays year-round in the Southeast Division of the UPSL. That's the United Premier Soccer League. It's founded by a group of Columbia soccer players. They're a non-profit organization. A lot of this is going to sound similar to us. This is the beauty of the grassroots soccer here in the United States. Their goal is to provide players in Columbia and surrounding areas a pathway to extend their playing careers as a professional development environment. They target players between ages 17 and 32. Soda City FC provides players an opportunity to play for a purpose, showcase their abilities at an elite level locally, regionally, and even nationally. So like Chattanooga FC, again, they're committed to supporting local players, local business, and building local community. Soda City started off in the NISA Cup last week. They had a 2-1 victory over tonight's opponents, the Savannah Clover FC. The Soda City, they're a great club. They've got a lot of similar values to us and how we started. Can't wait to get down to South Carolina. Again, that'll be a live streamed. You'll be able to watch that game. That's all I got for tonight, folks. Don't forget to watch us. We're on MyCuju. We're on YouTube. It's streaming live at 8 p.m. If you have any more questions, go to chattanoogafc.com. Thank you so much.